Did we not auto switch? Okay, I was playing around there. Sorry. Hi. It's been a while since I feel like I start off every live stream with saying, hey, it's been a while since we've had a live stream. But today we are unboxing an original Prusa Mark IV. It is the fully assembled orange PI sheet version. And I think if I can get my B camera to work, hello, I can actually show you the side label because I'm prepared. I'm a professional. Look at that. Oh yeah, we can zoom in. There it is, the original Prusa Mark IV fully assembled orange PI sheet. Orange kind of implies that there is a black version too. So people have been using the older Prusas with black machines or black printed parts in the past, and I think that kind of looks cool. But we have the traditional, original Prusa Mark IV. These are huge stickers on the package here that we're gonna unbox. I guess before we start, I should mention that this machine was provided to me free of charge by Prusa Research. They're not paying for this review. They don't get any input on the content. The links in the description are affiliate links, so I do get a kickback from those. Just feel like I should mention that. Many channels don't, but that's that. Yeah, Prusa Mark IV. Let's get this thing unboxeronied. So, good old knife, Tajima. Okay, I'm not gonna pretend that this is like the first time I'm taking this thing out of the box. I did already unbox this, so we're not like completely doing this never before seen. Okay, I did need a couple of shots for the interview video that I didn't get at Prusa's headquarters, so I've already taken this one out of the box. But I've taken it out of the box from the, ooh, I should disable that effect. 1 second. I am there we go. Sorry about that. God, like thanks chat. That's why I keep this on low latency. But thank you for the yeah. So yes, I did take this printer out of the box already, but it has not been printing. It has never seen filament. It's never been heated up. This is as new as it gets. I just needed those couple of shots for the video, so I took it out of the box from the bottom, and I put it right back in once I was done. So this is the first time we're breaking this seal up top. Why is Prusa still using printed parts? How does it make sense for mass production? Watch the video with the everything you need to know about the Mark IV. We asked that, and we answered that. So stickers. I do like this one, the temporary spool holder sticker, because I'm very much guilty of using temporary spool holders, not for resin. Okay, yeah, stickers, if you want to use those. I'm not a sticker kind of guy. Power cord, you do get a pack of Haribo, pocket size. People, I believe people buy the Prusas for this, mostly. They did also include, for me only, this is not something you will usually get, but they did include the Nextruder nozzle adapter. So this is also something that was asked for in the first look video. Are you in focus? I guess, yeah. This is basically the adapter that lets you use standard V6 nozzles, or not just nozzles actually, but whole V6 compatible hot sides, including Volcano, Super Volcano, Slice Engineering's hot side, essentially. Anything that has an M6 thread through it, that will be able to be used with this adapter. So not Revo, unfortunately, this does not work with Revo, but anything that is V6 compatible will work with that adapter. You also get the receipt. Well, not the receipt, but the testing report that is done at the factory. So USB is programmed correctly, firmware check, hot and fan RPM. They basically do a full test run of the machine. There is also a test print on the bed. And basically this is the report from their automated checks that they run. MAC address is registered, serial number, board number, all of that. And this was tested on March 28th. So this is a very fresh machine. And I think I may have mixed up a couple of things, yeah, because I've taken this out from the bottom. It's kind of rough. So yes, this I think also got kind of shuffled. The 3D printing handbook for the original Prusa Mark IV 3D printer. I do have the olden ones. Hi, I'm behind the box now. I do have the older ones here. I do have the 3D printing handbook that was included with the Mark Mini. With the Mini. I saved the one from the Mini. I thought the printing handbook was like universal, but yeah, you do get a full bound booklet kind of thing. And this is basically the printer manual, best practices when printing, which surfaces to use, troubleshooting, how to flash custom firmware. All of that is explained in this thing. And it's, how many pages are these? This is 64 pages. 64 pages of manual, essentially. And then for the printer itself, no, there's an accessories box. Typically, again, this will be packaged a bit differently because I shuffled this one around while opening it up from the bottom. You do get one spool of filament. This is, where's my camera? Oh God, this is so hard to do with perspective and everything. PLA Prusa Galaxy Black, just a standard filament that they make in Prague locally. They did also include for me the extra print sheets. Again, this is not something that you would typically get, but just like the nozzle adapter, they have included the textured steel sheet, the steel sheet, and the steel sheet satin. We're gonna have to look at these. So this looks textured, this looks satin, this looks... Oh, that's a stickered one. Okay, so that is the classic PEI sticker version. And a little, hey, thank you for purchasing. Use Prusa Slicer, use printables. And then there's the link to the slicer. Follow on all these social media platforms. Yeah, you do need to put the link next to a QR code, because if you don't scan it, like, you're never going to be able to follow those by manually typing out the QR code. Anything else? Ah, yeah, the Lego style screw reference sheet. If you ever need to work in a printer, that's sort of the sizes that are being used. And if you're ever unsure what size your print or your hardware is that you're using, that's there. PTFE tubes. There shouldn't be any PTFE in this one. This should be a completely Teflon-free printer. All right, and there is the main event. Box is empty. That's it. There is the printer itself. So Prusa did drop the i3 name part from the printer name. So this is just called the Prusa i3 now. It used to be, oh God, no, this is not the Prusa i3 anymore. This is just the Prusa Mark IV. It used to be called the Prusa i3 Mark III S Plus. This is now just the Mark IV. Before the i3, it was actually the Prusa Mendel, because the Cells Mendel was basically the design that the first Prusa printer was based on. But yeah, this is just its full name. Why do you call me by my full name? It will be the Prusa Mendel Iteration 3 Mark IV. Iteration 3 is when it got the frame, the flat frame. Yeah, ta-da, there it is. Quickest unboxing ever. So let's see. Let's give you guys some detail. This is something that might not be for me. That is packaging. So I've got a nice kitchen backdrop. That is the print that comes on the printer, and it did also have some of the filament loaded in when I got it. So that is printed right on the PI sheet that's on the machine. That's basically the verification that everything works on your machine. There it is. That's this machine's first ever print. They did not enable ironing. It would have been cool to have this thing ironed, but there is that, and this machine works. It does have, of course, the neck extruder, which is like pretty compact if you compare it to like a Mark III or a typical tool head, but it is very long, so you can sort of see the nozzle adapter as the filament guide, and then the heat break down here. Basically, this is quite a long filament path, so the driving happens up here, and then down here is where the nozzle sits. What's new also, you've got this thing, this power supply with the like all integrated shroud and stuff. I think that's been on the Mark III S Plus, some revision of that printer already. The frame, of course, the frame is now die cast. So this is with a hexagon tile kind of camera, please. No, camera doesn't want to focus. Okay, we're just going to move over here. Die cast with sort of the hexagon shape. This I don't think necessarily is to save weight. I would assume, knowing little about like die cast manufacturing, this would be to prevent like what's it called, divoting of like solid areas like here. If you make the entire thing solid, then it's just going to shrink unevenly and it's going to warp. So these I think mostly are for manufacturing purposes, but you know, this is thicker than the Mark III, so you know, you don't have to make it completely solid to get similar or better amounts of rigidity. And of course, saving shipping weight also never hurts. Then the electronics enclosure down here, that is now metal as well. It has that sort of industrial vented look on the side. Completely new board down here. This is the Wi-Fi adapter that's down here. So this is literally just an ESP01 module that's plugged right into the board, covered with a printed part, USB-C, Ethernet, and of course on the front you get the new screen. This is a touchscreen, and you can enable the touchscreen functionality, but it is not enabled by default, and it also does have a click wheel. Reset button, click wheel. I keep calling these click wheels. I don't know if this is like actually, you know, what people commonly refer to as a click wheel, but it's a wheel that clicks. I know click wheel is like the Apple thing, but yeah, that's what I call him. Should we plug this guy in? Let me see what I've missed on chat. Domenico, hey, good to see you. Paul and Simone, Daniel is here, Kat's here. We've got the whole crew assembled. Janet's here as well. Can we take off the front of the neck extruder? Yeah, we can. We can do that before we start a print. I think I do want to get the first run set up going first and run through that. And while we sort of pick a file to print, I've already picked something for you guys because I know you guys will never be able to choose. Maybe we can take a close look at a couple things there. So that plug isn't going in well. Oh, wow, that is tight. That is tight. Ethernet port looks blocked. What? The Ethernet port looks blocked. Let me grab an Ethernet cable, which of course I conveniently shoved out of the way before this live stream because... Okay, I will grab an Ethernet cable in a second. know what? No. I've got one here. I've got a cable here somewhere. That's the one that the entire stream is running through. Nope. Oh, there it is. There it is. I tidied it up before the stream, and now I can't find my stuff. Do you know the feeling? So there's an Ethernet cable, box standard with the molded on clip, and there's that. Literally just plugs in, and then you can unplug it just like that. So yeah, that works. Also has Wi-Fi, yes, which is kind of hard to see on this camera, but it does have Wi-Fi. However, I do prefer Ethernet simply because like configuring it, or configuring machines in general to connect to Wi-Fi, you need the password, you need the SSID, then reception isn't great. It's just so much easier to plug something in, and it's going to show up in Push Slicer. It has discovery, so yeah. Okay, then we're going to power this guy up. Oh, I do actually need to turn on the power strip. Original Prusa. So my microphone is here. I think there is some noise reduction or something going on. It does spin up the fans. This is like swivelable. But yeah, it's completely silent when there's no print happening. Can you guys read that? That looks like it's a bit too bright on camera. There we go. Hi, this is your original Prusa Mark IV printer. I keep wanting to say i3. I would like to guide you through the setup process. One-eyed Joe. Where did you come from? Where did you go? Self-test will now begin to check for potential assembly-related issues. So we did get the little receipt here that should have those covers, but you never know with shipping. Continue. So during the test, the expected fan speeds are checked for 30 seconds. So that is the cooling speed. You can kind of see the yellow wire there. Whoop. You can kind of see the yellow wire there. So it does monitor RPMs for this fan, that fan. I think there's another fan somewhere in the power supply. I'm not sure if it monitors that. So it does ramp through a couple different RPMs because of course these are controllable and the printer will control the hot end fan, for example, automatically. Max is asking, is this text multi-material or is it printed on? And this is actually a screen print, it looks like. So this is the bottom surface. The surface that is against the bed when these parts are printed, and this looks like a screen printing done after the fact. Same on the next extruder, by the way. So this is a bit raised, you can feel it raised, but it is not part of the original print. Okay, so you guys should be able to read that, yes. Load cell test, we will need your help with this test. You will be asked to tap the nozzle, don't worry, it's going to be cold. That is good, so it's at, oh, the bed is at 35 degrees though, so this is noticeably comfortably warm. Nozzle is at 19. Okay, continue. Tap nozzle in 4 seconds, oh God. Okay, I touched the nozzle. So this guy rammed itself into the top. It still has sensorless homing. It still has the same TMC 2130 drivers that the Mark III had and the Mark II had. Yeah, Mark II still had Allegros. Homing on the XNs, on the YNs, and on Z, at least when it comes to like leveling out the two Z drives, it just rams itself into the top and, you know, waits for those motors to eventually come to a full stop both. But on Y and X, it does do the sensorless homing. Max, yeah, screen printing does feel like a cop-out. The thing is, yes, it does feel like it's a bit of a, like you've got the MMU3 and stuff. I don't know how viable the MMU3 is at scale. And the way that this is raised and the details it has, sure, yes, it would have been cool to see it use their own tools, but I guess that's what it is. It's printed parts, yeah. So they are using multi-material printed jigs and stuff in their actual manufacturing line. If you've seen the video about the SMT line, those testers at the end that you saw that had like the orange font, that was actually MMU prints that they're using for the for their own stuff. But I guess they've decided that it's not viable at scale. The Z is fast. Well, the Z is still the same 4-start lead screws. By the way, we're just running through tests here. ZX is still the same 4-start lead screws. It is new motors though. So the entire printer has new motors that are tweaked to harmonize with the TMC 2130s. So stuff like VFAs should be eliminated. If you look at this print, well, this is a Galaxy filament, so I can't really tell, but this little tiny test print does look good that they provide. So where is that? There's the camera. So if you look at the sides, there we go. I don't know if you guys can see that, but yeah, there is very little in the form of like rippling going on. Do you have filament? Do you have filament? Yes, I do have filament. And we're gonna use not the included Galaxy Black, we're gonna use the Galaxy Green that they gave me. I don't know, sounds interesting. Galaxy Green sounds like an interesting color. Soren, what steppers does it use? It uses, yeah, Wurscht Peter. It doesn't say LDO on these anymore, but I believe they are still LDO, but they're 0.9 degree motors. But obviously these the stepper motors are quite easy to customize. So these are motors that are customized to work on this machine. And yeah, that's something that Mikuláš talked about, like, hey, they had so many different motors that they tried on this machine. And this eventually was the one that harmonized the best with everything. No hex filament, yeah, I was hoping they would. Sorry if that is too loud. I was hoping they would give me some hex filament, but I guess they had quite limited stock on that. So that's actually a very nice color. Where are we at? There. That's like an Aston Martin green. That's quite cool. Also translucent. So, you know what we should do actually before we load up filament? I'm realizing there's like a bit of a problem because like this. Can I balance this? Yeah, nah. This is gonna be tricky. Let's have a quick look at the accessories box. Istvan, yes, the Wi-Fi module does come included with the printer. This is not a separate purchase. It is included Ethernet, Wi-Fi, all in there. What is not included is any sort of accelerometer for the toolhead. I've heard people say that they've not decided that whether it's going to be separate purchase or just something that they ship after the fact, but it does not have an accelerometer. Input shaping is not enabled on this machine, as far as I'm aware. It will be a software update that enables input shaping with a fixed tuning for the Mark IV series. So I don't know how well that tuning is going to work. I was told that these machines are very consistent in the way that they're being built. I've yet to test it. I don't know if it's going to be usable or not, how much it's going to do. No idea. And I don't think we can have, reasonable speculations here because I don't know. Nobody's used input shaping with the fixed tuning values on this machine yet. It might be great, it might suck, I don't know. Filament guide add-on. I was actually looking for the spool holder. So yeah, this is the same spool holder, and this is actually, okay, so au contraire, for people saying, hey, why are they still using printed parts? This is actually a fully injection molded part. This actually feels like a fiber reinforced material, and I think it is. This has been injection molded since like the later Mark III days. So this is an injection molded part. I don't know why they're sticking or why they're using injection molding here and printing all the other parts, but I guess this is something that is just not going to get ever redesigned. This is just something that they design once and then it works. Because I mean, one of the benefits that they quoted for the printed parts is that they can redesign it fairly easily. And this thing is just, yeah, it's the same thing that he got 5 years ago. I don't know, 5 years, probably not, but yeah. Cool, and then this is the filament guide add-on. This is interesting. This is interesting. Nope. Yes, so it's like a little clip that I guess goes onto one of these things here. Somewhere. I think I'll actually have to take a look at the manual for this one. There's the print farm. Warranty, basic use, yes. There is the neck extruder. We're going to open that up in a second if you guys remind me. Proper use of double-sided, yeah. I just want to know where I attach the filament guide. I know this, I've used the Mark III. Error screens, basic controls, self-test calibration, yes. Loading filament. Unloading filament. Using the MMU. I don't think it says. So, okay. I guess that must be something that they, explain online. Where is my filament start? I wish this would have been included and explained just in the manual, but yeah. You could probably put a 500 kilogram spool in this. Not quite. So this guy does have a filament sensor built into the toolhead. Mikuláš explained that it's like a ball and a spring and a Hall sensor or something. So it's a wear-less sensor, I guess, that is also quite resistant to clogs and stuff. So I'm gonna just follow the manual here. This should auto-load, but I don't know if it's gonna auto-load in the assistant itself. I'm just gonna follow this, and I'm gonna switch between cameras. I'm gonna leave this pinned to the screen. So do you have, I can still zoom in here, right? Yeah, ooh, yeah. Do you have filament? Yes. Great. We need to start without the filament and the extruder. Oh, thank you for that info. Cool. All right. Make sure there's no filament in the filament sensor. Okay. Did that. Filament is out. We're clear here. So continue. In progress. Okay. So basically that was that. That was basically the 0 position for the Hall sensor. Now we're just going to shove this guy in. And it already said, hey, filament sensor is successfully calibrated. Remove filament to finish. Okay, let's remove it again. And we're done. Self-test okay. Use knob to scroll. Axes are okay, heaters check. So one of the things that I noticed is that this screen is not particularly fast. So this, if the whole screen has to refresh, this is not a particularly fast refresh. So this isn't some fancy Android screen. I assume this is just like some sort of serial screen that's connected directly to the STM32. What you would see on something like an Ender 3, what's it called, 2, the V2, yeah, is that the screen itself has another STM32 that's just responsible for the screen itself. I believe this is connected to the main processor itself, so it kind of has to juggle processing power. Not happy with the fact that it's like not the fastest screen in the world. Cheaper printers do it better. But that's like that's a whole video that I do want to make in the future, like different topic. It is what it is. I'm gonna have to experiment and see how well it actually works during use, whether that is a limitation. Can it run Doom? Probably. It probably can. Doom runs on everything. Somebody should run Doom in this. So Ethernet cable not plugged in and Wi-Fi connection is also not connected, but that's okay. Continue. So let's see what it does when we just shove filament in. I think it should. Are we hot? No, we're not hot. But let's just see. So I'm gonna go ahead and, can you guys see this? Yeah, you can kind of see the screen, what's happening there, right? I'm just gonna pop some filament in. Ah, loading filament. It's immediately starting to pull it in. Yeah, there's still some old filament in the nozzle, so I couldn't really load it. And then PLA is what we want. So you get to choose the temperature. PLA, PTG, ASA, PC, so 275. And it did preheat the nozzle to 290 just a second ago in the self-test to see if it could get that far. But for now, we're just going to do it to 215. Oh. Waiting for temperature. So this is a hot end that is a lot, well, not a lot, but quite a bit more compact than a V6. So yeah, you can see it kind of pushed out some filament there that was still in there. Do we have a V6 here somewhere? I think we do. That's a Titan, but doesn't have a hot end to it. That's a Super Vulcan. That's the wrong size. I do have a box of E3D parts somewhere. God, these studio moves are killing me. It's like everything's constantly a mess. I have a V6 somewhere. Maybe I have one on this Mark III, but yeah, not at hand right now. So there was still some filament in here. Typically, that I guess I should mention. That's the other thing that I did. The hot end comes with some filament sticking out the top. So it did have just a bit of filament sticking out the top, and I guess you would unload that or use it for the testing procedure before you do that. I did take out the hot end and have a look at that, and that still had like a substantial amount of filament sticking out of it, and I just cut it off. So this is not the typical experience. Typically, you'd see that there is filament in there, and you wouldn't be able to load it. And also, when it unloads, it completely pulls it out of the hot end. What to deal with this fan? This is a design feature that you can like get at the two screws that are on the side here. Because if you undo those, if you undo these two thumb screws, these guys, you can pull out the entire hot end, or you can just unscrew the nozzle from, or not the nozzle, the nozzle brake, I'm gonna call it, nozzle brake, right? You can unscrew the entire thing. And this, again, this is not what the nozzle looks like in there. If you watch the other video, you'll know that this is a whole M6 nozzle, basically volcano-sized, like that. Basically, that's what's in the printer right now. That's what's in here. And basically, you take out this entire thing, You unscrew it from the heater block. The heater block just dangles by the cables. You unscrew this. This is just loose. This is smooth. You pull it out. You pop in your other nozzle. It's not quite as convenient as a Revo, but it's a lot better than swapping filament on a V6, or swapping nozzles on a V6. All right, that's loaded. That keeps oozing. So what we got? We've got the typical question that the Prussians ask you, hey, is the color correct? Yes, purge more or retry, and this color is, not quite green yet, but close enough. So 215, what should we do? What should we do? Let's take a quick look through the menus that we have. Why didn't they include a sock? Kat, that was also something that I guess the Mark, we'll keep you zoomed in, that the Mark III also didn't do. The Mark III also did not come with a sock, because the Prusa team is not a fan of socks. They found that they fall off and cause more issues than they solve. So no sock on this one. Also, this fan shroud, if you take a look at that, this doesn't have anything blowing out the side, so it really only blows out the bottom here. So it really doesn't blow over the block much. It does blow a bit over the nozzle itself, but not over the block. So basically, I guess you don't get that much cooling, which they must have learned from the Mark III. The Mark III had some issues with the block cooling down too much. If you ran, for example, PTG, fan on full speed, and this thing at 235 or something, it would drop too much in temperature. I guess that is solved now with this sort of contour following fan shroud. Mark III also did get it solved with software and newer fan shrouds that were added in later revisions. So, what do we get? No USB. Oh yeah. Do they not include a thumb drive? Did I not get a thumb drive, or did I just miss it? I think I just missed it. I think I literally just I'm blind. Because there's still a lot more stuff in here. So there it is. There is the 16 gig USB thumb drive by AData. Do they even make smaller ones than 16 gigs now? But yeah, that is included. That's one of the integrated USB connector styles. Not USB-C. Some people have asked on the interview video, why is the connector, the uplink connector on the main board, why is that USB-C and this guy is still USB-A? I guess it's just a legacy sort of thing where thumb drives still are expected to fit into a standard PC, and if it doesn't have, most PCs have USB-A. I don't know. Would have been cool to see one of those double enders and just have a USB-C on the device. Nevertheless, that's what we have. Maybe a future revision will have a USB-C. You get the basic tools as always. You get the little needle nose pliers. You get a Phillips screwdriver, some hex keys, wrenches and stuff. You also get, what are you? What in the world are you? Prusa. I don't know if they're trolling me or not, but you're getting a Prusa lubricant applicator set. A Prusa lubricant applicator set. Oh, right. I remember. You stick this thing. But does this work with the? So basically, you screw on the lube and has a thread on here, and you stick this all the way into your linear bearings, and you basically lube up your LM8 UUs. And I guess with this guy, it has LM10 UUs. You can lube those up as well just for servicing. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. and you get one acupuncture needle and an isopropyl wipe for wiping down the bed. Filament guide add-on, accessories, yeah, we still need to figure that out, but I feel like that's going to be too much hassle for now. We do get the USB drive, so there are some, we wanted to take a look through the screen here. So it does automatically pop up the latest print. Well, nope, what am I doing? It does automatically load up the newest file on the USB drive. So when you slice something, you drop it onto the drive, you plug it into your printer, it automatically pulls up this screen that you can, you know, literally one-click print something if you've got the right filament loaded. But we do not need that for now. We can go to print, and then you've got your list. So you do get a couple pre-sliced files here, typical Prusa slicer output. Would have been nice for this to be a bit more of a readable list. Maybe have like columns with print times and material and stuff. Like this is literally just a file name. Maybe an update in the future. RC Sandy Mini, that looks like an RC car. So you always get the preview. Prusa Slicer has been generating that for a while, and it's just part of the G-code. So this image is just encoded in G-code. You do get the info and stuff. That's a bit too much to print, but 6 hours for a whole plate, that sounds pretty good. Let's see, you do get the preheat options. We've already seen that. 285 for the nylon. Okay, so that is quite a capable hot end. I don't know how well it does enclosed. These parts are, I believe, still PET. So these printed parts, yeah, the way they feel, I think they're still PET. So they're not an ASA or an ABS. If you do put this thing in like a fully sealed heated enclosure, I don't know if these will do so well, or whether you should move to an ASA, ABS, polycarbonate, whatever for these printed parts. The electronics, I think, should be okay. They do have temperature monitoring and stuff on there, so yeah. But that's something to reconfirm by Prusa. I don't want to give advice on how to kill your printer, essentially. Filament we've seen, control, you get your move axis, temperature, home, calibrate, Z, so that is still included. That's something that originally with the load cell was cut out because like now the printer knows exactly where the bed is, but that is still in there. Self-test, we've already done that. Diagnostics, that is interesting because you do get, where is that? I've seen it on Prusa's machine. There is a, yeah, no, it's an info, sensor info. So that is the full list of, I'm actually not going to highlight that, the full list of all the sensors in here. So you have a heat break temperature that actually measures basically north of the nozzle, this area, I assume. So if that gets too hot, you might run into PLA clogs, so it can monitor for that and give you a warning, I guess. Board temperature, so that is just the onboard, on the main board basically. Bed, nozzle, load cell, that is, I guess, like, is this cool enough? Yeah. Yeah, 170. Hot, no, that's definitely hot. So if we just ever so slightly push up on this, so this is literally just, look at this, this is one finger just kind of pushing up. You can see that second to last value there. Yeah, this is super sensitive, so just a couple grams, it will easily be able to detect. And then the filament sensor, I guess if I wiggle on this, yeah, if I push on the filament to the side, it can even detect, maybe not. Yeah, I feel like it's kind of picking something up, but that is the raw reading, the analog reading of that Hall sensor. They could have just put a an on-off digital hall sensor in there, but they didn't. So you get all the voltage monitoring, current for the heaters, for the MMU, I guess we don't have, RPMs on the fans. So just tons of stuff that they're measuring. And this isn't really used in like live compensation of stuff. This is really just to detect faults. So as always, you can turn off the smart stuff if you do want to do stuff differently, and you put some hardware on there that, you know, maybe doesn't work with the sensors, then you can just turn them off. G-code checks, yeah, so the printer knows which nozzle size you've installed because you can tell it, and then it checks if it matches what your G-code says from your slicer. Like it has all that stuff in there, but you can turn it off if you want to. So I guess with Warren, I could just shove a Mark III G-code in there, and it should print. Device hash and QRs. So let me see if I can find the touchscreen. Oh yeah, the footer. You can actually, this guy down here, you can actually customize what it says down there. Nozzle, so that's nozzle temperature, bed temperature, which filament is loaded, filament sensor on off, speed multiplier, X position, Y position. Yeah, you can customize that sort of stuff. Where's the touchscreen? This firmware might not have it yet. I am not sure. It doesn't look like it has it. Maybe once we connect this to the internet, then we can do an update. It should do an over-the-air update, I think. Should we try that? Yes. So, stay killer and the joy of 3D printing. Experimental features. Where is experimental features? Is it like on Android where you have to do a some sort of a tap this thing 7 times to enable the dev options? So this is physically a touchscreen, but it is no OTA updates. Ooh, huh. Long press on knob is still moves the axis. So that still does that. Where, you know, if you ever need to move the z-axis out of the way, you just do that, you hold it, and it gives you that. Yeah, and it also gets you there from any position in the menu. So updates still through USB. I guess we should just do a print. We should just do a print. Long piston settings. Domenico wanted to see the neck extruder under here. I hope I'm not going to damage anything, but we can try to get into here because I really want to see this in person. Go into settings and long press. Ah, haha, haha, I could have shown you that. So basically it's, nope, it's, you want to change? No. Basically, you go into settings and then you hold, and it gets you into the experimental settings. And then you've got no touchscreen option either. Extruder direction, wrong or Prusa? Okay, okay. Steps per unit, you can calibrate that. So that does enable quite a few things that you would need for hardware mods. So that's pretty cool. I don't think it was on the Mark III, but I don't see the touchscreen. I've seen the touchscreen. I've seen it used, and basically it's yeah, you can now tap on anything with your finger. You can use that, and you get a scroll bar on the side that you can basically tap to scroll up and down. It's not a great touchscreen interface, but then again, most printer interfaces on a touchscreen aren't great either. So I'm not keen on enabling it. I do prefer the click wheel experience. Settings, hardware. Okay, practical printing, last thing we try. Settings, hardware, experimental features. So settings, hardware. There is no experimental feature, so do I hold here? Nope. Nah, I don't get experimental features, so probably just the firmware that is not equipped with that yet, I'm gonna assume. Cool. We're gonna take a look at the next extruder. What's inside this guy? So, this tool behind me, by the way, that's real tools. It's not much on there, but it's actual stuff. I'm gonna unspring the extruder because I don't know if that's like gonna explode into a million pieces when I unscrew it. Mikolash did make it look very, very easy in his Blender animation in the promo video, where this cover plate just like poof comes off and there's magically another cover plate under it. Let's hope this is. Oh yeah, this is literally just a cover plate. That's that. So you do get. It does look like there is some sort of guide surface that the gears ride against, that they don't sort of drop out. But they do ride in this aluminum inner piece. You can see the motor shaft in the very center. If I move the printer closer, you can actually see it better. There we go. That sun gear, I believe it's called, that is literally the printer itself. Then you've got your two planets, and that is where, what did I say? That's the motor itself. Did I say the printer itself? That's the motor. You've got your two planet gears that are attached to whatever this plate is called, and that drives the filament. Yeah, this entire thing spins, drives the filament, and this, of course, stays static. What am I gonna do? I'm gonna pull out the filament. Of course, the entire thing's gonna rotate along with it. I'm gonna pull out the filament. Oh yeah, look at that. That's how it works. It just turns the other way if you... There we go. I'm just doing that by pushing the filament by hand. No, hold on. Did I? Or was it literally the filament auto load? No, it's the filament auto load. I'm stupid. Okay. So it's working in the background. It's doing something. It's trying to pull in the filament. That's how it works. So this plate back here, that is literally the drive gear itself. So a bit further down on the surface, there's drive gear. So yes, I agree. They do need to make this a transparent cover. However, I think it would get scratched up as this surface here, this center ring, you can kind of see it does have a surface that keeps the gears aligned and keeps them pressed in, sort of. So, you know, with the grease and everything, it might not be as aesthetically pleasing in the long term as you... Could I do that? It might not be as aesthetically pleasing in the long run as you might think. There's also like a grub screw hole. Oh, hold on. We can take apart some more. There is the filament drive gear. So on this side over here, you can see the filament guide. And actually now we can see that this guy goes basically all the way up to here. So that is your heat break. This gear might not be in a perfect position because they're not assembled, but no, it is. This guy goes all the way up here. And then you've got your printed guides. And then, of course, there is the bearing guide. Non-driven in that case. But yeah, this is literally the same thing that you saw just a second ago as that center plate. Oh, we've got Joe here. Good to have you along. I know these printer unboxings, these live unboxings, are quite stressful for Joe. So I wouldn't blame him if he just was like, I'm just going to leave you to it. Ooh, that's cool. That's something I didn't see initially. So okay. Proper printing, take note. So instead of just having one idler bearing for the filament, you've got two. So basically what you get if you have just one of these is no matter how big your drive gear is, you have your huge drive gear and you get one point of contact. Literally just one, basically there. You have your single gear, you push the filament in, and it's just pressed in on one spot. Like, it doesn't matter how big this thing is. Yeah, you get a bit extra surface, but what they're doing is they're adding two spots. So basically they're sort of bending the filament around the larger drive gear. Imagine this is the drive gear, right? They're sort of bending the filament around the larger drive gear so that you actually get a larger surface. That's pretty cool. That is pretty cool. Yeah. Huh. Yeah, and stuff like the what's called the proper extruder with the belts and stuff. The belt is just going to flex out of the way, right? These two bearings are rigid, so whatever tension you set on these springs, these are going to push the filament into this large drive gear. That's pretty cool. And then yeah, there's the filament sensor. I would assume that I'm not going to take that apart at this point. Thank you, Domenico, for suggesting the disassembly. We did learn a bit more than I was hoping for. Okay, you are in. Now we just need to get the drive gears in here. Oh God, I hope I'm going to be able to get these back in sync. I'm sure it does say somewhere in the manual to never take this apart. Okay, I will need to realign these definitely. Oh no, what have I done? What have I done? Okay, do not take these apart. Is now challenge number one. Is how do I get this back into the aluminum housing? Everything's full of grease. Okay, this is not going well. There we go. Okay, so that's in. Very carefully inserted. And now, tricky bit, this is going to need to get clocked. I'm sure there is advice against doing this in the manual. Okay, got it in. This might be off clocked. This might be like one tooth off. I'm gonna have to like do a recount and stuff at some point. Yeah, definitely do not take this apart unless you have to. Not recommend it. Video proof you voided your warranty. Yeah. It will have to be done on the Mark IV kits. Ah, okay. Yeah. I'm sure that the Mark IV kit manual is going to have instructions on how to do this, because the thing is, you can actually now these are locked in place. These don't turn, but you could like clock these off one tooth to either side, and then this wouldn't be running well anymore. It wouldn't be running true anymore. So now the idler needs to go into place. And there we go. This might be slightly off, but I'm not going to worry about it for now. Just again, recommendation, don't take it apart unless you have to. And if you do take it apart, probably read a manual about it. Like I said, Joe Prussia is probably sweating blood right now watching this, but that's sort of what you get. Yeah, And if it saved them some support time, you know, from people not taking theirs apart, then I guess it's worth it. He'll glue it together. Okay, yeah. But then what's, you know, I wouldn't be able to satisfy the people's curiosity. You know, they're here for this wacky stuff. That's what they come to this channel for. That's what they come to me for. And the good thing is, with the completely opaque cover plate, nobody will ever know that this might not be clocked correctly. Okay. So let's give this a quick shot and see if we can get the filament auto load to work still, or if we hear horrible noises out of this extruder. Oh, feels smooth. All good. So we are on PLA. And it's heating up. And while that is heating up, while that is heating up, we should slice something. So, that USB is still tight. Manual, lol, didn't read. There we go. So, printer is still in the background. There's the, once this thing is printing, we can, yeah. Is the color correct? No, purge more, please. Once this thing is printing, we can sort of put it side by side on the, or with the Mark III. I don't have a Mark III S or S Plus or any of the newer versions. I do have pretty stock original Mark IIIs. So that's the wrong mouse because I've got a whole mess of stuff. So USB drive, let's check what's on here. USB drive, literally just the G-code, which Windows 11 opens up with Notepad. Firmware 454 BBF. Let me just double check what we've got on here, whether that is a newer revision that we have. Well, then we have. So info, version info 454. Okay. That is what we have. I'm sure leaking the serial number isn't going to be an issue, but if anything comes up with Prusa support that uses these serial numbers, then they will know that somebody just copied them from this video. So I did expect sort of a, you know, a slicer included in the G-code. However, it does say in the book of instructions to go to, where is it? Prusa3d.com/Mark4? Something like that. Where was that? No, that was this paper sheet, this guy. Prusa.io/Mark4. So let's try that. Oh yeah, I did pick something to print. Prusa.io/Mark4. Firmware, we do have that. Driver and apps 252. So this is not Prusa Slicer 2.6. This is, who knows, I guess. This is 252 still. I don't know if the newest Prusa Slicer 2.6 has support for the Mark IV, if it has those profiles. It might not. I've not looked for it. CJ is asking, is the bed magnet stronger than the Mark III? How badly did you get pinched this time? Did I get pinched on the Mark III? So just quick comparison. Feels okay. Feels okay. Yeah, this literally feels the same. And that makes sense because these are literally the same heater PCBs. Exact same thing. So I would assume these are basically just taken off of the... Oh, I've got another camera here. These are basically just taken from the same stack as the Mark III boards. And used, essentially. Handbook. So that is the, if you guys want to read along and look through the manual, then the handbook is there, and then there's a bunch of how-tos. I guess there's no assembly instructions yet. Oh, and the filming guide add-on, the instructions for that. Cool. I was looking for that, but it does say where to find this stuff. Test objects for the Mark IV. Okay. Yeah. Okay, open tutorials. Now we don't need no tutorials. We just need the push slicer. 252, and let's do the config wizard. Install the updates. So these updates are actually, these profiles are actually separate from the Prusa Slicer release. So this is 252 that we've got now, the software version, but it's in the background loading in updated profiles. So as as stuff gets tweaked, as for example new filaments get added, profiles get updated. Even if you don't update Prusa Slicer itself, it's going to pull in those updated profiles in the background. So yeah, I guess it does make sense that you wouldn't need like a special Prusa Slicer version just for Mark IV support, because, well, they can all support it. I guess at least the recent ones. So Mark IV. So they've already got profiles for the 0.25, 0.3, 0.5, 0.6, 0.8. Okay. So we're going to add that with the 0.4. Of course, all this stuff is added. Oh, they've got Excel profiles now. I've not had this wizard open for a while, if you can tell. But yeah, they've still got the profiles all the way back to the Mark II, obviously. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, I do have that. So we're basically done. We've got the Mark IV selected. We're printing with Prusa Mint PLA. 0.2mm quality setting. And we've got another config update. Did I not just update this? Yeah, there we go. You know what's cool? What I'm just realizing? I feel like I might have pointed this out before, but if we go to... No, where's my... There we go. If I move me away from here, you can see that this window isn't activated because, like, for whatever reason, this PC gets constantly deactivated. I guess that's the same reason that Linus Tech Tips doesn't have licenses. Yeah, but this one isn't activated, and you'll never know. So what I want to print is is this guy. This looks like a fairly compact, small print. Klammer. That sounds like an IKEA name. Also, it's green, and we've got green filament loaded. So I'm just going to grab this large ribbed STL. That looks good. Oh, it does open again. So let's just grab that. Where are you? And we are 25 minutes. Ooh, Okay, that's interesting. So on the Mark III, I guess if we switch over to the Mark III, it actually does its prime line down here, and it's always done that. It's just outside of the print envelope. It's not going to bother anywhere there. But because the Mark IV now only does bed probing, so it touches down the nozzle onto the bed and probes the mesh bed leveling. That's what I'm looking for. It only does that where it's actually going to print. It doesn't actually know if this area down here might be out of whack, whether it might be, too high up, too low down. So it actually does the prime line right next to the print. that makes sense from that perspective. It also cuts down on travel time. Also, it doesn't do the skirt anymore, the one-line skirt. But that might have been, was that Mark III profile now too? No, the Mark III still does the skirt, which is pointless. And I do often turn it off if I just need a bit of extra print envelope, because this basically this makes your print bigger. And if you're going right to the edge of your print envelope, then this is going to eat into the space you have. You can turn it off here. You might lose a bit of filament pressure or hot end pressure as the nozzle moves through the print start. Now I guess it's just right there. That's cool. That's cool. That's a small little thing, but it's pretty obvious. It's pretty apparent, and it saves plastic because you don't have to do the full line. So yeah, 25 minutes. I don't think this goes all the way up to top speed because we have, yeah, this is pretty slow. We've got a relatively small print and mostly perimeters. So 25 minutes, what we can just test is if we do more, how much does it? No, it's actually going at full speed. So this is the quality profile. And it is printing at pretty conservative speed. So 90 millimeters a second. On the infill, that's not too much. Accelerations as well, pretty low. Again, this firmware doesn't have input shaping yet. So these are pretty slow speeds. If you go all the way to draft, then the speeds basically stay the same. Print speed, yeah, drops in half, but that's 0.3 millimeter layers. Let's compare that with the Mark III. Not much. You can't see it because my face is in the way. I'm sorry. There we go. Mark III, 2 of these, which kind of eliminates cooling issues. 32 minutes with the 0.3 millimeter setting, and then 0.2 quality is at 54 with the Mark III, and then the Mark IV is at 50. So practically the same speed. Really not much of a difference with the same sort of profile. 24, but this is going to get updates. There are a lot more options here with quality and speed. And of course, I'm going to have to try out like what the quality delta is between the Mark IV and the Mark III, whether the Mark IV now prints nicer, more consistent, at same print times, that sort of comparison. Top speed doesn't look like it's much improved with this state of firmware slicer profiles. This is going to get updated. Right, so let's just do one of these, since there is no cooling issue. And we're going to use 12 minutes. Yeah, let's use the fastest profile. Or fastest speed profile? 19? $19 minutes. 19 minutes sounds good. So export to USB, save, and then the typical thing with push slicer, you can safely remove or eject it right there. Yeah, God, this stick is tight. Stefan's here as well. You did a live unboxing or something? USB always goes in the wrong way first try. Right? I unboxing first note something. All right. Is there anything I wanted to do before I start a print? Connect to Wi-Fi? I don't know how much we're gonna see there. I think the entire Prusa Connect, so that there's Prusa Connect and there's Prusa Link. Prusa Link is you go directly to the machine and it's like Octoprint. It basically gives you an interface. It's not as fully featured as Octoprint, I would assume, because it runs on a little ESP. But you can use that without cloud, and then there's Prusa Connect, which is basically your managed print farm cloud service by Prusa, which I have no idea how to get started on that. I've never used it, but that's also supported if you want to use cloud features with that. Okay, Prusa sweating blood and tears. Let's give this a try. So we've got the G-code loaded. And again, I'm sort of intentionally deviating from like, hey, we're just going to print a pre-sliced file because like there could be anything in those files. I want to have the genuine, authentic experience. Typically, I do a Benchy or a Frog or whatever, but this is a quick print, 90 minutes. We're on the 0.2 speed profile, not on the quality one, because like it's supposed to be a bit faster. You do have the same speed profile on the Mark III. So yeah, we're just going to hit print. And it's blue light. It glows blue. So it's doing probing right now. On a smooth bed, it's reasonably clean. It's doing probing right now, so the z-axis is slower. But it is going to touch down very gently. And it actually does slightly bend the bed. But yeah, then it goes to... That is a very... I guess we're not even doing mesh bed leveling. It just did like a couple points and that was it. Interesting. What does it do? It lights blue. Yes, it glows blue. That was interesting. So supposedly it does mesh leveling in the area of your print. It doesn't do the whole bed. It looked like it just did like 3 dots. Like there, there, and there, right next to each other. I guess in a small print it doesn't really need an error really, so it's really just a point. So, Will it do more mesh bed leveling once it's hot? I don't know, but it's heating up to 170 degrees on the nozzle and 60 on the bed. So that does sort of indicate that we might be seeing, you can barely see that, 170 on the hot end. That sort of indicates that we might be seeing another round of bed mesh probing once the nozzle schmutz is sort of cleared off. Oh. Okay. Any bets if the extruder will rapidly self-assemble on first movement? Nah, it's loaded filament fine, so it should be okay. All right, so now it's actually... Ooh. That was like very, very slow. Okay, so now it's just probing the print area. Yeah. And it does leave a little itsy bitsy dot on there. But yeah, didn't do the whole bit, saves some time. It feels like that is a very marginal gain, but I guess over hundreds of thousands of printers shipped and millions of prints done, yeah, I guess it does add up to some save time. I guess. What is that? Oh, that's the bed LED indicator in the back. Something's resonating. Okay, that's better. Oh, we've got Martin here as well. Yeah. Not sure what that sound was. Does sound like there is something loose. It might be the extruder. I don't know. That would be on me, but it's printing. It actually sounds about, microphone is here. It does sound about like a Mark III. Not any noisier, and like, at least from my perception, it's not any quieter either, so it's all right. This does not have silent mode, it's just normal mode now. What do we get as far as options during printing? So, of course, we get the remaining time. Oh, it does have... Now, okay, so this is not a real... it scoots up through the print. This just colors in over the time, it looks like. Pause, stop, you get the toolbar that, of course, you can configure. Tune, you can change filament mid-print, you get the usual temperature, print fan speed, filament sensor, fan check. Okay, so that's just fan monitoring, I guess. Okay, that's the beep, that's not the... Right. Time zone offset, okay. Message history, okay, so that's basically a console output, that's pretty cool. You've got a bigger screen now, so I guess you can save some of those. And then, oh, that could be interesting. So you get the... Here's the load cell. There's the load cell. So that second value there, that is the real-time load cell reading. So it's basically how much pressure there is on... Yeah, you can see it going negative as the hot end retracts. So whenever it sort of retracts, this guy goes negative. That's really cool to see, actually. So yeah, Mikolash has sort of speculated about future uses of that real-time reading. You know, yeah. Maybe we're gonna see something there. For now, I don't think it's really being used. Fix that time. What time is it? So it is not connected to the app. Yeah, we're actually an hour off. So I guess, yeah, let's fix that. Oh yeah, and before that, we do see input currents, which is interesting. So I guess internally, they are reading values differently, so that they're kind of summing up. Let me get that out of here. They're sort of summing up everything going in and going out. So input current, I guess, is negative, is like the whole thing. Interesting that is a negative value there. Let's fix that time, yeah, because you can actually fix that. 0 hours, so it is 2 hours. Daylight saving time. When are they gonna get rid of that? So yeah, 8:24, and it's printing. Did I mention that we are printing? We are successfully getting some filament out. The extruder sounds fine. You're missing some screws on the heat break fan, don't you? No. So this guy, this fanaroo is pretty much suspended on the right side. It doesn't need 4 screws to stay in place. That's like all the screws that this printer gets, and as far as I'm aware, that's how it ships. Yeah. The bolt holes underneath. Yeah, there's screw heads underneath. That's where the heatsink, I think, attaches. CJ is asking, is there any magic in there that helps you properly tension the belts? I don't think so. Though I think Nero would agree that like belt tension isn't that critical, so yeah. It's all right. There is, so Mark III did have like a belt tension reading. I think this guy should still have it internally somewhere. that basically determined like how much, how to explain it, how much friction are the motors seeing, more or less. So yeah, no magic there, and it's also not that critical. Yes, don't over tighten it. That's not good. I've destroyed some motors on that as well. Let me see what I can find about Prusa Connect. Yeah. I'm gonna have to make an account and stuff. Basically, print overview, remote printing. Prusa Link, yeah, Prusa Link is built in on this guy. You would typically run it, you know, with a Mark III, you would run it on a Raspberry Pi, but here it's built in, and then you get that. And I guess Prusa Slicer can upload to Prusa Connect directly, I would assume. Beta. But you do need an account. I don't have my login details at this time. I will try it out off camera once we've got this done. Last time I did try Prusa, well, some Prusa web interface, it was on the SL1, and at that was 2 years or something. That really didn't do much. That had basically a status page, but it's been improved since then. And also the SL1 and SL1S now, they do give you more info and more input through that same web interface. I gotta say, it does feel like exactly like a Mark III. But of course now the bed leveling is gone. And well, I guess I'm not pushing it either. When do you think I'm gonna make a video on this printer? Well, once I've tested it out a bit. The thing is though, there are still a lot of parts about this that are in flux, more or less. So the input shaping does not exist yet. I guess there is some beta firmware floating around that we don't get access to yet, but it does exist. So I would like to test that before I make a full video on it. This isn't totally completely finished yet. So they're communicating that, right? They're saying, okay, we can ship you the thing now, you can use it now, but for its full potential, you're gonna have to wait a bit. So yeah, once that is in a more settled state, I guess, then I can look into, fully testing this machine out. Yeah, the Fomegra, whatever that name means. Yes, filament load successful on the LCD with Octoprint on the Mark III. That's pretty annoying. I would assume it's not much better here, because messages on the LCD, if there's something popping up like filament load failed or whatever, that's not a message that will come up. But if there's a message on the screen that you need to manually confirm, you can't do that through Octoprint. Yeah, I guess the 0 point anymore. Can we run something on the Mark III? I guess for like a sound comparison, you guys can skip back and forth through the stream. We can slice something for the Mark III, run it on the Mark III, put it in the same place, and kind of have it at the same distance. And I'm just going to cancel that print, right? We can try that. Yeah, let's do it real quick, and we leave the printer running. I'm gonna print with PTG just because that's what's loaded up in this Mark III right now. And I'm just gonna go for the same 0.2 millimeter speed. And this guy has a 0.6 millimeter nozzle in it, so it's, I guess, not entirely comparable, but just a rough reference. It's gonna be maybe a bit slower as far as linear speed goes. Nah, it should be pretty comparable. So I'm just gonna chuck that onto an SD card. Again, USB always needs the second try to get it in the right direction. And that's actually the wrong computer. Ah. Hey, Joel's here as well. Good to have you around. And yes, these are the cable organizers on printables. It is these guys, Klammer. I just saw these on the front page and was like, yeah, this looks like a good size test print. Let's just try that. Oh no. That's the one thing that's really starting to fail on the Mark III on me is the SD card slot. And I feel like this must be a rather common thing. Hold on, because I've seen it on both my machines. The text switch on the Mark III that basically senses whether you've got an SD card plugged in or not, that does like to act up on this guy. I use PLA instead of PTG. Yeah, it doesn't matter. But on this Mark III, if I go over here, you can kind of see that. Oh, yeah, the screen is not great in comparison. If you push that in, okay, now it works. But quite often you just push it in and you get. Now it works. Okay, I guess Power Cycle fixed it. But yeah, quite often you push it in and you have to kind of hold it in place. Yeah, this guy, look at that bed. Yeah, it has seen some use. That does look a good bit better though. Everyone's pointing out I've sliced with PLA. I know. Now I'll have to reslice it. Would have worked. All I'm going for is like noise levels. But okay, I'm gonna reslice it. The camera is quite stark. So the blue LED, you should see that change color once the print is done. I guess that is like useful for print farms and stuff, where you just take a quick glance at the machine and you might not be able to tell by ear which printer is running and which one's finished. Or if you've got it like in a separate room or an enclosure or whatever, you can just take a quick glance and you'll see what's going on. And that is controllable through G-code. So if you want to write your own sequence, like have different colors for heat up or for different events, you can totally do that. Okay, just to confirm, we did PTG. It's up there. We did PTG. We did the same 0.2 millimeter detail, 0.6 nozzle on the Mark III. Let's hope this SD card reads. Yes, okay. Okay, Joe. See you around. Yeah, I'll try and not blow up a Mark IV on the stream, but we're pretty much done here anyway. This print is almost done. We're going to do a quick noise comparison to the Mark IV, and that's it. All right, thanks for stopping by. Yeah, I could have changed the temperature. Yurko's asking, is it possible to add a camera? So it is not possible, as far as I understand it. It would be weird if it was possible somehow. It is not possible to directly plug in a camera into the Mark IV. Now I want to try. Now I want to try and plug in a camera to the USB port in the front, because that is a standard USB port. I don't think that should be possible. It might be possible through some really tricky programming, but yeah, I believe the way this works currently is that you basically have a separate device with a video stream. So you have, I think Mikolas demonstrated it with an old phone, and just having a streaming software on that basically gets your feed into Prusa Connect, as far as I understand. That's the way that I understand it works. But yeah, not directly connected to the printer with the ESP as just a Wi-Fi module. I don't think that would even have the performance for that. Yeah, so let's zoom you guys back in because we're almost done. The USB-C on the back, that is still no, it's this side, it's on the, you can't even see that. No, that not either. There. Mainboard still sits on or behind this left column. It's actually getting pretty warm. There's some good amount of heat coming out of here. Is there a fan? It might be. So there is a USB-C port on the back of this guy, and that is, yeah, your typical serial plug-in. You know, if you want to plug in the Raspberry Pi and run Octoprint, you can do that, or if you want to plug it into your computer and control it with a printer host traditionally, then you can absolutely do that. But yes, that is not a place to plug in a USB camera. Actually, let's get you heated up, just so we have a bit of a speed boost. So the print is going to be done in a second. There we go. So what are we printing? We have printed this guy. Oh, that's a smooth transition. That's almost the same perspective. But we are making the Klammer by BQ3 from Printables, which is licensed share-alike attribution. So we did the attribution thing. Thank you for providing this design. And that is our finished print. I'm gonna get the Mark III off of the table for now. I'm gonna grab that in a second for a sound comparison. So bed still comes off. This is the exact same bed as on the Mark III. So if I just grab the textured PI sheet from the Mark III, totally fits, no problem at all. So if you already have these, then you can continue using them. So this is not like some new proprietary, well, it is Prusa's own size for these guys, but it's not a new size or anything. It's literally the same bed, same vari-zone heating, so the center gets a little bit less power versus the edges where it's going to cool down more, so it creates more heat in those outer surfaces. I did a video about that a bit ago. And there's still the flex beds. Oh, this already snapped together. It's still the flex beds that help you sort of bend the bed and not your print, and get the print off quite easily. So how do we do? Ooh, what are you? Did you come loose? All right, let me present that to the camera so you guys can actually see what I'm talking about here. There is our clip. Check number 1, VFAs. None visible. That is buttery smooth. There is a bit of ringing on the corner. So this corner here, you can see just a tiny bit of ringing there. There it is. There it is. Of course, the translucent material, the translucent filament, does not help with that. There is some ringing from the inside. Translucent filament. I thought this was opaque, but yeah. Overall, smooth print, as expected. No real issues there. It's a print. So the stuff I'm gonna have to look for in, yeah, you can kind of see infill poking through there. That's something that input shaping should address, actually. Even if it's like not super massively tuned for this machine, that should improve that. Overall, kinematics pretty similar to the Mark III, pretty similar performance to the Mark III in that regard. It does look pretty clean, you know, but I would assume the older printer would be able to do it as well. Again, VFAs, as promised, those are completely gone. There's a bit of a step here. I don't know if that is like beta adhesion or something. I'm gonna have to reprint this and check this out. Or if it's part of the design. I don't think it is. Yeah, that line here, that is kind of throwing me off. It might have been me bumping the printer, I don't know. I will reprint it in a more controlled environment. Maybe I can give you a bit of a different lighting situation here, because that was like backlit. Come on. Come on. There we go. Nope, top camera. Yeah, no VFAs. Bit of ripple. It's not. Yeah, it shows up under the exact right light. But overall, it's a pretty clean print. As you would expect. As you would expect, and as you have every right to expect. All right, let's try this guy. I'm just going to do the quick comparison, just so you guys see like what's the. Yeah, it's beeping at me because it wants its newest firmware flash to it. I know. But I'm not going to give it its newest firmware. It's a good print. So I'm gonna let this guy probe, and you guys can. Yeah, that thing did come loose. Yeah, if you clip it together, you can kind of see it. That's what that line is coming from. It kind of threw me off, but it looks like beta adhesion wasn't perfect. So yeah, there we go. There you can that edge that really threw me off, but it looks like it did come loose, right? This is mirrored. It did come loose right down here, so that's where that little lip is coming from. Maybe I keep drifting out of frame. Maybe not the best print to try this on. But it might have been dirty. I don't know. I'm going to reprint this in a more controlled environment for sure. So first layer, we're still going at the lowest speed. I should have grabbed my decimal meter, but it does sound a little. Mark III does sound quieter. Does sound quieter. Again, I will need to redo this in a more controlled environment, printing PLA, printing at the same speeds and all that. It should be able to run the same G-code, probably. I'm gonna have to look at the start G-code, what's in there, but technically they're like the motion envelope and stuff should be the same. Shouldn't be much of a difference. Okay. This Mark III, by the way, is slightly modded. It does have here and rails on the y-axis, but that doesn't really make a difference. I did a video on it. You can kind of see them poking out there. I did a video on that. These don't do anything. There's no significant force on them, so really, there's no up or downside with them. They're just, you know, if you want to mod stuff, you can do that. Okay, let's do some questions. I'm not going to let this print finish. I'm going to cancel it once we're done here. This guy is in normal mode, so I can still put this in stealth mode. And then it's quiet. It's even quieter. So this is definitely quieter than the Mark IV now, but of course speeds are reduced. Do the rubber feet still fall out? That is a great question. Let's check what we get for feet. I kind of know the answer to that already because the rubber feet were... Maybe I should... Nope. Maybe I should turn this guy off. The rubber feet were fixed on the Mark III's pretty early in its life. Mine still have the rubber feet, but this guy now has these square rubber feet that are very securely in there. Looks like it's the same material, but these are pretty securely locked in there. Bed carriage, by the way, completely new design, completely new part, also die cast. Oh, yep. The small part cooling fan, I will need to test that, whether that's a limitation or not. It is a radial fan, so, you know, well, this guy also has a radial fan, but a bigger one. I don't know. The default, I guess, for me is like I'm sure they did their homework. I'm sure they have a reason for the decisions that they're making. It does feel counterintuitive that this is now supposed to be a faster printer, or a printer with a faster top speed, top performance, and it now has a smaller cooling fan. I don't know if this specific fan has better, worse performance, whether the fan drought is different, no idea. We need to test it. Yeah, what's the point with the Mark IV? Watch the interview video. We do list out all the new stuff that comes with it. New extruder, new motors, no more VFAs, no more issue 602, reliable nozzle leveling that you're never going to have to touch, Wi-Fi functionality, input shaping in the future. I guess if you see it as sort of like a natural continuation of the Mark III, then it does make a lot more sense than it being a completely new machine. That's sort of where I see this sort of fitting in, right? If you were to upgrade a Mark III, would you go 3.5, 3.9, or to 4? So the different upgrades, is there any other printer manufacturer that gives you the option to upgrade your machines? I don't think so. But the different upgrades that they offer to the Mark III platform, and I guess, yeah, if you had like a Mark III S Plus, whatever, you would have different starting points. So that's something to consider. 3.5 is the new mainboard, yeah. The new mainboard and the new screen. So mostly it's going to look at, it's going to look very similar to Mark IV, to a full Mark IV already. So you get input shaping in the future, and you get the new monitoring stuff, but you don't get the new extruder hot end and by the way, quick change hot end. It makes nozzle swaps easier. You don't get this entire toolhead, but you get the electronics, and you get the screen, and you get the Wi-Fi and connectivity and all that. 3.9 is everything but the motors, I believe. God, I'm exhausted. I'm not making this. I'm not doing a great job representing this. I'm not sure if I would upgrade at all. That's the thing. I think Tom, look. This is a machine that fits what I need to do, right? On the topic of, oh, you're too biased towards Prusa. Yes, I like these machines. Yes, these are the machines that I print on. And people typically don't give me shit for liking them, right? This is a machine that fits my situation and my requirements very well. Is that wrong? No. Does that mean I can't consider any other use case? No. So cut it out, all right? But where was I? I wouldn't upgrade probably. The thing is, I'm jumping between printers so much that I typically don't have one that I like fully set up. I don't mess with printers and then basically let it rot in the corner for a while and then go back to it. Typically, if I mess with a printer and it's not in a situation where it's not easy to pick up again, I'm not going to use it. So the entire Wi-Fi networking functionality, that is fine, I think, for a lot of people. But for me personally, the way that I use them, I don't think I would be making use of it. So I don't think that that would give a lot of value to me. The improvements in print quality are cool. If that bothers you, if the little bit of VFAs that you get on a machine like this, which I can barely see on this, but that's a different nozzle and stuff, and 602 and stuff, if that bothers you, then you have the upgrade options if you want. It's just that I'm okay with print quality as is. I've said this before, I would be okay with like an Ender 3, to be totally honest, as the machine that I use to just get my prints out, to make stuff. This is a more convenient and a more reliable option to those printers. The Creality machines with the Teflon in the hot end, that typically gives you issues that are hard to diagnose. You can upgrade, you can mess with that, but again, this is something that I can just leave in the corner, and I could pick up my Mark II right now and print on that and download Prusa Slicer, get perfectly tuned profiles with that, and just use them. That's what I kind of need in the printer, right? And that's what these machines give me over an Ender 3 or some other machine that has tweaks to it, like you could have a fully pimped out Ender 3 with new mainboard, new drivers, new hot end, new everything on there. But then you need your one custom profile that you need to safeguard. Here I can use a completely different computer and just slice and print, and it's gonna be good. So yeah, this fits my workspace, and I don't think I would upgrade. This is fine for what I need, and it does everything that I needed to. So yeah. To clarify, 602. 602 is, do I have a print where it's sort of visible? 602 is a specific sort of ripple that you can see in some of the Mark III prints. It's like specific conditions, etc., etc. It's because of the way that do I have the Bondtech gears here? I just had them in hand yesterday. Because of the way that the dual drive Bondtech gears mesh into each other. There's a whole box of Bondtech parts here. That's pretty convenient. And I think, yes, that's the box that I'm looking for. So the Mark III does use dual drive gears. The Mark IV does not. Let's see. So these are the drive gears, or at least very similar ones to the ones that are in the Mark III. These guys. So they drive the filament from both sides. This is the drive gear, that's where the motor attaches. And then this side is basically just on a bearing. You can see that sticking out. And it's driven by the other side. So this guy turns, and then this other side gets turned along, and it pinches the filament between them. Now, as this distance varies between them, these two gears on the end up here, they stop meshing well. And what you'll eventually get is, they'll never stop making contact, but what you sort of get, as my understanding is that as these teeth mesh, you'll get this side moving a bit, then it'll engage and move this a bit, then this, then this. And through that sort of back and forth, you'll get a bit a tiny amount of pulsating filament flow. And apparently it's enough that under certain conditions, you get a bit of a ripple effect on your prints. And it's particularly noticeable on vases that have a very consistent amount of material extruded every round. So that's something that you sometimes get on the Mark III, you don't get on the Mark IV. That's 602. All right. Okay. I think that's going to be it. So this guy's been running on silent mode, which is way quieter than the Mark IV. If you put it back onto normal mode, then we're going to be a bit noisier. But this is also running slower, I think. Yeah, because we're now in the minimum layer time limitation. All right. The set screw which offcenters the gear. The teeth make a difference, but not so much. Okay, apparently that issue 602 is still open for discussion. You can take a look at the bug tracker. Just Google Prusa 602 and you should find it on GitHub or somewhere. That will explain that. But like I said, it's an edge case on this printer which is fixed on the Mark IV. Right. That's it for this one. I think that's all the stuff that I can try for today. It is 9 p.m. That's a good 2 hours worth of streaming. Power failure detection still works. That's great. Mark IV obviously still has that. That's it for this one. I will dive into the Mark IV, do test prints, but like I said before, expect a full review once this thing is sort of settled in. Once stuff like input shaping is out there, and once this is fully featured, I guess, yeah, like I said, more of a preview at this point. This is going to get upgrades. The thing is, the Mark III has gotten upgrades during its lifetime as well. So it's not like this came out and then it's set in stone. This has been greatly modified and changed and improved over its lifetime with software upgrades to the filament sensor, for example. That has been made more reliable. And I fully expect that to like gradually happen for the Mark IV as well. Like stuff that they can do with the load cell, etc. But for now, I just want it to be in a state where like all the headlining features are there. For now, it's mostly a Mark III in its performance, but there's just more headroom, and you know, testing headroom is always tricky. So that's it for this one. Hope you enjoyed. If you want to grab one, affiliate link down below. Thanks for watching. Have a nice Easter if you celebrate that. And I will see you all either on the main channel or on this one once I unbox something. Bye.